recognize Dr. Murphy for 5 minutes.
Just give me a second. I might need a fiduciary myself. I want to applaud everybody here, everybody on the committee, in a totally apolitical, nonpartisan manner. Is everybody concerned about veteran suicide? I know there is, unanimity in that. Problem is in the manner in which we're attacking this. Mr. Burke, I have a line of questionings. I've just been sitting here writing out the PhD from Duke. I was just reading his report. I'm not sure he's ever seen a patient, but just reads off studies. So just going through the whole fiduciary process, is there just one single individual gets to check the box that says the person needs a fiduciary?
So sir, there's not. And so the way that the VBA processes a workload, there are numerous hands that touch the process, those that develop the claim, those that may go out and request a medical exam to elicit further information. It could be a rater that proposes a finding. And
all right, so I'm sorry, I don't want to go through that because I got other questions. So there's one person finally that has to check the box. I mean, there has to be.
There's one person, sir.
Is that automatically referred to a re-referral for evaluation just because you're taking away a person's constitutional rights? Is there any checks and balances to that final check of a box?
So the check and balance is actually the fact that before that final determination is made, the veteran and his or her representative get a proposed finding with a due process period.
All right.
Once that has expired, that decision is then appealable, but it is a final decision, and at that point...
But it takes an action of appealing rather than... because the veteran then has to jump through a bunch of different hoops from bureaucrats. So I was determined to be my mom's fiduciary when she got older and just couldn't handle her financial matters. It just wasn't there. It wasn't that she had any particular issues, but that made me her fiduciary. And so by definition, I'm her fiduciary. So if she were a veteran, wow, that would put her in a different category of an assumption of incompetence. Not incompetence, you just sometimes can't handle your matters. You brought up at one point, and Representative Brownlee asked you the question for evidence that this program had saved lives. And you mentioned that you'd have to get back to her. How long has the program been in effect?
With respect to providing information to NICS or the fiduciary program, we've had the fiduciary program for years.
For the one we're talking about, for taking away a person's Second Amendment rights.
So I know there was a NICS improvement in 2017. I'll ask Mr. Behrens if he has more.
The reason I say this is if we don't have information at this point that you have not here, not that you have right here, that this is saving lives, it's not that you do a program with the hope that would save lives, even though I guess we all really truly want to save lives. And it's not empiric evidence. You want factual evidence, objective evidence that this is going to save a life. And yes, I understand people with suicidal ideations and access to guns. Absolutely, I get that. I've been a surgeon, trauma surgeon, for 35 years, and I understand that part. But I just want us to be on the other side of making sure that those veterans have benefits. I will ask one thing, because you did mention PTSD as being one of the issues. Are you aware that there's a very, very good program, especially in my part of Eastern North Carolina, where it's where we take veterans out and it's hunting for veterans to help them with PTSD?
Yes, sir.
So how would, if somebody has PTSD, how would they be able to participate in that program?
Well, as I cited in an earlier question, the mere diagnosis of a mental condition is not a bar to owning a firearm. There are different levels of severity with post-traumatic stress disorder and other mental conditions. It's only at the point where the medical evidence clearly and convincingly shows that the individual is unable to manage their funds independently that we refer to NICS.
Yeah, but managing funds, and as I said, I was my mom's fiduciary, managing funds and having suicidal ideations are two absolute different things. Absolutely different. One is simple, basically you can't handle your affairs, and the other thing is you want to kill yourself. So you cannot make those equivalent, not by any means.
Simply complying with federal law. We have a requirement by law to submit those to NICS, and that is the crux of this conversation.
So is there any evidence that requiring a fiduciary has decreased suicide attempts.
There is evidence that access to firearms,
Sure.
right? But the fiduciary itself, the fiduciary program was not set up or established to remove, access to weapons. It's a byproduct of the requirement in the Brady Act. With respect to science and research, there is research that shows that limiting access to firearms does help us in preventing.
I'm really trying not to be belligerent. I really try, because I really want this issue solved with veteran suicides. It's tragic. I represent 1 out of 8 of my constituents as a veteran in my district. It's an absolute tragedy. It's also a tragedy in this country that 110,000 plus people now are dying from overdoses for drugs coming across our border, but I don't see us as a administration taking any issue with that. I appreciate your work. I can't say I agree with the premise on which you're working. With that, I'll yield back.
Thank you. I recognize Representative DeLuzio for 5 minutes.